Hello everybody, my name is John Lipscomb, and today we're going to cover reverse prospecting and how it affects buyer agents and listing agents. So we're going to start with part one. Part one is going to be what is reverse prospecting and how does it affect buyer agents? And then we're going to go on a little bit later and talk about what you see if you're a listing agent and how to utilize reverse prospecting to help with your listings. So let's talk about reverse prospecting. What is reverse prospecting? Well, before we talk about what the reverse of it is, we actually have to talk about prospecting itself. And it's any search you do in the MLS. Anytime you go in and you put in criteria, you are prospecting the MLS. Now, whenever you go in and you actually find a listing, every listing you find in the MLS with the criteria that you put in has a listing agent attached to it. Now, you're not really looking for the listing agent. You're looking more for a listing that matches your customer's criteria, but every single listing in the MLS has a listing agent attached to it. So in a sense, you're actually looking for them and their listings. So that's what prospecting is. What reverse prospecting is, instead of you finding them and their listings, those listing agents can find you and your searches. So instead of you finding them, they can find you. All right, so we see this listing right here. This is Sean Ferguson's listing. Now, from a buyer agent perspective, when you have somebody in your contact list, they're automatically opted into reverse prospecting. So let's take a look at the contact. So I'm going to go here to My Matrix and Contacts. Let's talk about how reverse prospecting starts from the buyer agent side. So I'm going to go to Contacts. And whenever I go in and I add a contact right here, I can go in and add their information. Notice how every contact that you put into the MLS is already opted into reverse prospecting. So I'm going to go ahead and add Billy Buyer. And I put in the required first name, last name, and email address. But that's not all. Now, one other thing you can utilize is, let's say Billy Buyer right here has already been pre-approved for a mortgage. Well, you can actually let the listing agent know this. So if you go down to show all fields here, one of the things you can do is check this little box where it says mortgage pre-approved. And the listing agent out there is actually going to be able to see this. So I'm going to check the box here and then fill everything out for the rest of the contact. So I'm going to go in and set up an auto email for Billy Buyer. So I put his information in and I click on save. So I'm going to go ahead and do my search and find a property. Now you could go in with criteria. I'm going to do this with a specific MLS number just to kind of make things a little streamlined. So how does reverse prospecting work from the buyer agent side? Well, whenever you go in and you do a search in the MLS and you pull up a listing or listings, whenever you set up an auto email for that particular contact, if you have that box checked, they will automatically be opted into reverse prospecting when you set up your auto email. So here's the results of my search. I'm going to click on new auto email here. Just very quickly pick my test customer here, Billy Buyer. Add in my subject line. Let's say testing, reverse prospecting, or whatever you want to call your search. Okay, fill it out. Here's my email signature, set up concierge. Notice how they're automatically opted into reverse prospecting here. This is based on what I had set up for that contact. So when I actually picked Billy, this box is automatically checked whenever I set up an auto email. So I'm going to go ahead and click on as soon as possible and change the settings for whatever you want, whatever is good for your customer. And then you click on save, and then your auto email is going. Okay. Now, from a buyer agent perspective, that's pretty much it. You set up your contact, you check the box or leave the box checked for reverse prospecting, and maybe you check that box in the additional info to see if they are approved for a mortgage. Now, a couple things to keep in mind is, now that you have that contact in your list, if you look to the right here in your contact list, you will see that person has been issued a reference number. Because on the other end of reverse prospecting, if the listing agent finds you in your search, they're not going to know who your customer is. All they're going to get is a reference number. Now, they may actually give you this reference number, so you know which search they're talking about if they reach back to you for reverse prospecting. If you're a buyer agent and a listing agent reaches out to you through their reverse prospecting, you're going to get an email from them. And in the email, it'll have whatever they say in the body of the email and their email signature, but it will also include a special link right here. And this link right here, if you're already logged into Matrix, it'll take you right to the listing, or if you're not, it's going to ask you to log in. You're going to end up looking at this. So when you click on the link, it's going to show the actual customer, and it's going to connect the dots here. So it's going to say this customer likes this specific listing, and then maybe they've already marked it as a favorite or a possibility. So at that point, take whatever actions necessary. Pick up the phone, call Billy Buyer, set up a showing, or whatever you need to do at this point. So this is what happens if a listing agent reaches out to you. So good luck. I hope this helps you in your business.